Hello everyone, my name is Mario for Cost Spirit and welcome to the channel. So today's video is how to raise your vibration and ascend to a higher level of consciousness. Now there's many ways to do that. Meditation is one, dealing with crystals is another, right? Another way to do it, and it's very important because this has to be done, is you need to release your darkness within, right? And allow the light of God to flow through you. So when do you see that the most, your darkness? Well, typically it's usually when people do negative things to you or something scares you, right? So for me, I'm going to explain to you the situation that I'm in right now. And I'm going to explain to you how I'm dealing with it, so you have an understanding of how I'm dealing with it and how it may be able to help you to deal with it as well. But remember, if you want to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, the darkness needs to be released 100%. You cannot live in fear. And anger is fear, okay? So let's start. Right now, I'm gonna show you that in a minute. But right now, my yard is flooded. Right, I guess we had a big rainstorm, and my yard was flooded. Now, typically, I've been living here for quite a while, but maybe 20 years or something like that. Typically, the only time my yard has ever gotten flooded is during the spring when it would rain really hard and there was snow, and the snow would melt at the same time. So like the bridge, the cauldrons that handled all the water can never handle that much. So I would flood. But by the time, like May hit, you know what I mean? It was pretty much done. I never got flooded again, even though we had big rainstorms. I never got ever flooded again, right? Then a couple years ago, I'm going to show you this. Right before the bridge where all the water goes underneath, trees had either fallen there or been cut and placed in like across the stream or the river, whatever you want to call it. I think it's a stream, and ever since then, when there's big rainfalls like this, I've been getting flooded, right? So last year I let it slide because I knew that they had beavers bringing in sticks into the culverts underneath the bridge, so they were dealing with this. I didn't really say anything, but this year, but for this year, I'm like, well, that's got to be dealt with because I can't have another year like I had last year where my yard is flooded half the time or whatever, quite often, and it pretty much destroys your yard as well, right? So I talked to the manager like a few months ago, and I told him like my yard had totally gotten flooded, a little bit worse than what you're gonna see now, but still got but like whatever, it was a little bit worse than what you saw now, right? So and he was saying, oh, all the cauldrons are clear, they're all clear. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, well, I can't have my yard being flooded like this. It's not good, right? So he's saying about the trees. Well, the trees do more good than harm. Like, I don't know what he's talking about with that, because once you see my yard, you'll see I don't see where he's getting it does more good than harm. But what he's referring to is it stops the beavers from bringing in the tree branches. But I've been living here for quite a while. We never had I'm sure there was beavers then, and we never had a problem. And by the way, we're living in 2025. If you can't handle a few beavers, you know what I mean? Like what's going on, right? So that's why, from what I can tell, he wants to leave the trees there. But the problem is that my yard is getting flooded, and you'll see the damage that it's causing, right? So to me, and not now, in thinking how I'm gonna deal with this, there's a lot of anger coming up, okay? There's a lot of dark energy. So in order for me to ascend, I cannot feed that dark energy. I cannot go with that darkness. What I have to do, I have to be able to communicate with what I want in a peaceful fashion within me, right? And if the manager or above him, because if he doesn't deal with it, I will be going above him. If they don't care enough to fix this problem, then I'm going to have to deal with it in a peaceful fashion as well. Now, this does not mean being a carpet. This does not mean just coping and saying, oh, well, times are changing and the weather's worse, so that's why it's getting flooded or whatever. He's doing as best he can, blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't work that way, right? Because, for example, so the first time I told him that about the cauldrons, he said, oh, it was clear. But then I saw him again later on. I know I'm jumping all over the place here, but I saw him later on after that. And I told him, like, it was just small rainfalls, and my yard was getting flooded. I go, dude, this got to stop. I got a lot of money spent in the bottom of my yard, and it's just money thrown out the window, right? And he's making jokes and all that, and I'm like, well, what are you joking around about? That you're doing something mean to me, and you think it's funny, like you know what I mean? So this is where you need to calm down. And even though they're being that person's being negative, you cannot fall for that trap. You can't be negative as well, right? So anyway, so he said he was going to look at the cauldron that week. So he cleared out. So he looked at the cauldron. And it was like plugged up. They were plugged. Like one was almost completely plugged. The other one was half, whatever. So they cleaned it out, and then you could see, and then I'll show you that river later on, that it had dropped like a couple of feet or whatever, right? So it made a difference. But yet there was still like garbage in the one area, and I told him, I'm like, there's still garbage in the one area. It needs to be cleaned out. Oh yeah, we'll clear it out. And that was like a month ago when I was paying my rent, right? And here we are now, like it's gonna be July 1st pretty soon. Right now it's Saturday, June 28th. It's still was never done. So then, you know what I mean? So then for me, I'm like, well, obviously the guy doesn't really care about me and my yard, right? And again, it's where the ascension comes in. In order to ascend, you must release all darkness. That means you can't use anger. You must use your intelligence and deal with this in the most intelligent fashion as possible. No matter how high up you go, no matter how you deal with it, it's got to be the most intelligent way you can deal with it, right? And if you feel anger, if you feel darkness, you need to release it to God. Release it to the light. You cannot hold on to this darkness. So basically, I was watching. I'm like, okay, well, if it floods again, you know what I mean, I'm gonna have to do something, right? So what I chose to do is make this video so that helps me keep my focus. And second, like this video I did for you guys, I'm gonna be keeping the same video for if I have to go higher up to show them what's going on as well. Mind you, I'll just take the sound on so they don't hear this. I'm just gonna show them like what's going on. And but yeah, so that's the way I'm choosing to deal with it. And you know, and it's one thing to know with it within your head that like consciously you're aware of what you need to do. It's another thing to do it, okay? And then that's where the work comes in, okay? So you have to always remind yourself you cannot get angry. You cannot use your anger to communicate. You need to use your intelligence. And if at the end of the day, if you don't get what you want, you're still gonna have to use your intelligence, because it's not so much about what they're gonna do, even though that is important, but it's not so much about that, it's about how you deal with that. Because even if they stay negative, right, you cannot stay negative, because you're gonna carry that on with you. They're gonna carry it with them, and then even if they don't choose to change things, it doesn't mean they're getting away with it, because when you behave in a dark fashion, you attract that towards you, right? So they're not getting away with anything. The universe knows how to deal with these kind of things. So you cannot hurt yourself for them. Their pain is their pain. Their dark ways of dealing with things is their choice. That's on them, not on you. You gotta do the best that you can. And if the results are not what you wanted, you still need to stay the same way. You cannot go dark, because you're only hurting yourself. And by the way, if you get all pissed off and the person like, oh, okay, and does it for you, you haven't done anything, because you still got angry, you still hurt yourself, right? And that's just a fantasy. It's just an illusion, because your anger, you're gonna attract that by somebody else down the road, right? So just be aware of that, and do your best, right? Even let's say, like I haven't gone through all this yet. So let's say I feel the anger come up, and maybe I don't deal with it the best way. You can't judge yourself. Do the best you can. Do some steps forward, even though they're just small steps. do some steps forward, and then the next time if it happens again, which is will, because if you don't release your darkness, you're just going to attract this darkness again to you. So the next time you attract it, do a bit more, keep going forward, and then one day it will be dealt with, right? But for right now, I'm going to show you what I'm dealing with, and then in the next video, I'll let you know how everything went and how I actually, from all aspects of my being, like my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, like the subconscious, all aspects of your spirit, how it all dealt with it. Because like I said, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. Because remember, we've reincarnated many lifetimes. We've got a lot of old programming stuck inside of us that need to be released, okay? So in order to release this old programming, you have to be persistent, and you cannot get angry. You must use your intelligence and keep moving forward one step at a time. So let's see what I'm dealing with here. So if you watch some of my past videos, you'll see my yard without water. But look, I got a bag of mulch there that was supposed to lay down over there. That's full of water, right? Come over here. Look at the plants. That one plant in a pot there is totally covered with water. That one almost so. Like it's crazy. Like look how far it's come up. Like I can't even work on this area. Well, I can up here, but I can't even finish this whole area. Like I was supposed to finish all my gardening this weekend, so I can have like July and summer and August off, right? But I can't even do that. Like I don't even know how long this water is going to stay here. Look at the angel over there. Hey, look at all this water. Like I can't even put solar lights down here. Can't put lights anywhere over here. They'll be flooded out. So anyways, that's the situation here. Now I'm going to take you to where the river is, where the water drains out of. So here you are. Here we are. This is the trees I was talking about. You can see how it's laying right across the stream, right? So in my opinion, that's holding the water back. Now, did a lot of water come down? Obviously, because you can see where the cauldrons are. It's pretty high up, but that's still holding it to a certain level. Would my yard still get flooded to a certain degree? Possibly. I don't know for sure, but I do know that there is not helping. So until that is removed, in my opinion, that's not helping what's going on in my yard. Yeah, so basically that's it. Like another thing that like I was meditating before I did this, and I had this feeling, like I could feel it right here in my spine, where, you know, like I should just accept it, right? And like if I don't accept it, then like I'm not gonna ascend. Like something real bad's gonna happen. So what I did, first of all, I don't get angry. So what I did is I acknowledged it, right? Because it kept pecking at me, right? So I acknowledged it, and then I said to it, I don't agree. I don't agree with those thoughts. So, sorry. But, so that's how I dealt with that. And then another thing is too, well, one could say, yeah, so I just talked to my neighbor, he's like, yeah, you're just seeing all the water come down this now. Okay, fair enough. But even before we got that water, like Saturday morning, I'm pretty sure what happened overnight, it was either Friday night or Saturday morning, it had rained like I think Wednesday and Thursday of last week, of this week, right? And I could see water like right to the edge of my yard. So the whole back of the marsh was already full of water. So obviously, with this downpour, it's gonna make things even worse, because it hadn't even drained yet, because it had rained a few days during the week, and it wasn't like it was really heavy rain, but those trees, in my opinion, are holding the water back and not letting it drain as fast as possible. So now there's always a constant like water there. Then all of a sudden you get a hard rainfall. Then sure, it's already full of water anyways. Obviously, it's gonna make it even worse. But if that was flowing properly, and there was a lot less water in there like how it should be, then maybe that rainfall wouldn't have been as bad. You know, it obviously wouldn't be as bad, and maybe even wouldn't come up on my yard. And again, I've been living here for like 20 years, and I remember being at work and rainfall so hard. It was amazing. You'd see like the whole yard would get full of water with like white tops floating around and this and that, right? I'd come here, it was never any flood. There was never any flood back then. That's like 6, 8, 10 years ago. There was never any flood, right? So, and what it just be? It's like harder than that now. Like I didn't see the rain last night, but like I see some pretty hard rainfalls in the past, and I can't see it being much harder than that. And I've never had any flood. I've never had this problem till those trees have been put where they are. So, anyways, I'm gonna upload this. I'm gonna call the manager and see what's going on. Talk to you next video. Goodbye.